the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
And one time.
Well, let's we're gonna get to that later on in the month to come, but like just man, it's so much stuff we could talk about. But let's get to the MVP, right? So we were able to react to the Christmas Day game. Lamar Jackson put on an absolute show. And then last week, he put on an absolute show against the Dolphins. And right now, he's in the lead for the MVP. I think we can all agree on that one. Although he doesn't have the best stats, if you're watching the games, if you're paying attention to what's going on, you have to give Lamar Jackson the edge over everybody else. Christian McCaffrey, I would say his numbers, you can argue that maybe he is the MVP, but because of Lamar Jackson's performance against the 49ers and the Dolphins, I believe that he has elevated himself to the number one for the MVP right now. And then I'll probably go number two. I will probably go Christian McCaffrey because it's just what he's done. Look at you. I know you hate it. I know you hate it, but 21 touchdowns, and I believe he's so important for that 49ers offense that I believe that because of that, I believe Christian McCaffrey will probably be two. But I think Lamar Jackson, it's like a wide gap. It's like Lamar, and then it's like another tier. It's like Christian McCaffrey and whoever quarterback you want to put in there. And that's just how I look at it.
I'm agreeing. I'm in agreement with the whole Lamar for MVP campaign. I mean, it's usually the best QB on the best team, and the Ravens are the best team in the league, so they're going to just give it to him strictly off that criteria. But this notion that the CMC thing, I'm just kind of I don't see has CMC. So usually when a skilled player wins these type of awards, they've done something historic. Has CMC done anything historic?
21 touchdowns.
Is that historic? Did he
Plus.
break a record? Did he break a
Okay,
record?
he didn't break a record, but 21 touchdowns. My God.
That's a lot. That's a lot of touchdowns.
That's impressive. Derrick Henry nearly won the MVP. He had like 2,000 yards, but he didn't break no record though. He had 2,000 yards.
Exactly. That's why he didn't win it.
That's because Aaron Rodgers threw for 40 plus touchdowns and it had like number one like QBR, passer rating, and all this other stuff. Now Lamar, he does. I don't think he has all that, but he does have the narrative on the side.
I believe he's. Yeah, I don't even know how many total touchdowns he has. It's probably like 30 or so, 30 something.
I don't think he's in the top 5 of total touchdowns because
I don't think so either.
I remember it was like Brock
Purdy, I know it was
Josh
Allen. It was Josh Allen one. It was Josh Allen
Jalen
one.
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. I believe Dak is third. Brock and then Jalen. Jordan Love. Yeah.
Jordan Love. Those were the top 5. I don't think Lamar is in it, but in terms of like just watching the film, like he's one of them dudes. Like, got to watch the film. You got like what he's done against the best of the best. Like he's shown up. So this one of them years where you have to watch the film. Like you have to really pay attention of okay, what's going on with the offenses. Because if you think about it, the Ravens, they're not like the Eagles where they just push QB sneak and he's going to get a rushing touchdown. Like
Gus Edwards had a lot of touchdowns.
Exactly. So you have to look at it from that perspective of okay, they are like what's their red zone percentage? How often are they getting into the red zone? Are they one of the best red zone teams in the league? And I don't know the number of that, but I expect them to probably be one of the better red zone teams in the league, especially if Gus Edwards is getting a bunch of touchdowns. And so if Lamar Jackson is handing the ball off a lot to Gus Edwards in the red zone, even though he's driving them down the field, I mean, can you really say like, oh, Lamar Jackson, he should be dock points from the MVP because Gus Edwards are getting the rushing touchdown, even though he's the one driving them down the field in the 1 yard line. They call a rushing play for the running back because that's normally what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to just do tush push every single time That's why DeAndre Smith, if you have DeAndre Swift as a fantasy owner, you're like, damn, I keep getting hold all the time. Like, give it to the running back. Like, why you got to push every single time? So I think that's why when you look at the numbers, they can be a bit off-putting because you're like, damn, but this guy has more total touchdowns than Lamar Jackson. But again, he hands the ball off to the running back. That's what you're supposed to do. He's not trying to pat his stats like a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts to make it seem like he's really doing much in the red zone when it's just a QB sneak. So that's why I'm not too mad at the whole give Lamar Jackson the touchdown. Give Lamar Jackson MVP even though he doesn't have he's not top 5 total touchdowns, because if you understand the Ravens offense, you understand that they give the running back the ball when they're in the red zone. Like that's just how we normally do things. And so yeah.
I also want to bring up how it is absolutely disgusting how the narrative switched on my quarterback, Dak Prescott, after one bad game in like 2 months. This man was playing lights out football since about week 7, and then one bad game against the Bills. Now everybody just moved him to the wayside as far as MVP goes. And then he comes back the next week against the Dolphins, puts his team in a position to win the game, and what happens is defense failed him. Then he goes up against Detroit, CD has 200 million yards and won people's fantasy championship, and then Dak goes down and gets the game-winning drive, and then his defense almost sold him again. I'm like, how is this dude? Like, do you know how bad the Cowboys would be without Dak Prescott? Are you kidding me?
I mean, he almost sold too.
When?
At that Lions game, when he threw, I think it may have been second down, he threw the ball out of bounds when you're trying to kill the clock, remember? Because you don't want to give the Lions time.
See what happened there, right? We got called for ghost tripping, and no one on our team tripped any. We're not even gonna get into that. That's been a whole controversy. It's been so much crying and whining on social media. I have had enough of the discourse. But yeah, man, I don't understand. Like, this team would be god awful or middle of the pack at best instead of the 2 seed if we didn't have Dak Prescott on this roster. That's all I'm saying. He should be at least 3rd in MVP voting, but they got dudes like Tua above him.
He should be in discussion. He should be above Tua. He should be above most of the people on there. I think he's better than, in my opinion, I think Dak is above Brock Purdy, but we all know just the narrative behind that and everything like that. If you watch film, I believe Dak is above Brock Purdy, especially since Tony Pollard has not been living up to the bill, and then you guys can't really run the ball effectively enough. So he's had to
on FanDuel, Dak is second for MVP at plus 1,600, but Lamar is minus 20,000.
Okay, all right. So yeah, anywho, that makes perfect sense. You just look at with Dak Prescott, and he's had to put on a Superman cape when it comes to, it's on him. He's had to air it out. He's had to put the ball in harm's way sometimes in order to keep the drive going. And the running game hasn't been very effective for this team, and still, you guys are one of the better offenses in the league. So you have to give Dak Prescott. You have to put Dak Prescott above like a guy like Brock Purdy, a guy like Christian McCaffrey, and all those other guys, because it's just what he's asked to do for his team. And so he doesn't have a Kyle Shanahan as play caller. He doesn't have a Sean McVay as his play caller. Like Mike McCarthy, he's okay. Like he's all right. He's pretty solid, but he's not one of the very best at what he does. And so Dak Prescott still been able to do it. I'm still giving Lamar the edge, but Dak Prescott, he deserves to be in the top 3. He deserves to get an all-pro consideration for a QB. He should be
he's definitely making all-pro.
He should be, if it's first, if it's second, probably going to be second, but he deserves consideration for that as well. And yeah, Dak Prescott has had a tremendous year.
For some reason, Micah Parsons is not leading defensive player of the year, and I'm very upset about that.
well,
Myles Garrett, nice.
Oh yeah, Myles Garrett is tremendous. He saw what he did against the Jets. Oh my god!
I mean, Who isn't doing that to the Jets?
That's a good point. But man, he is the amount of pressures that he's getting, and
I think Michael leads the league in pressure.
he does
Yeah, and it's by a considerable margin.
considerable margin. All right, well, that'll do it for the MVP talk. I'm just glad that Brock Purdy is not going to win the MVP, and now we could put
The
that
league
to
is
bed.
saved.
Yes, thank you, Lamar. Thank you. You saved us all. You saved us all because them past few weeks, Brock Purdy, should he be the MVP talk, was toxic as hell. Finally, we can get back to real QB conversations, real discussions, not this fake talk. All right, let's go to the next topic on the list.
Look, cold world, still a cold world. And a couple of y'all is cool, but we a little more thorough. Whole time, a little more girls. You know I spit that sick shit and it's still no cure. Hold up, loud pack.